Hey everyone, welcome and welcome back to my channel. I'm Florisha and I'm a MADE 24 alum, and in this video I'll be sharing my blueprint to becoming a MADE Intern finalist. The MADE Intern program is offered by AEF, ANA Educational Foundation. So the nonprofit AEF acts as a bridge connecting the marketing, advertising, and academic communities, which means that the nonprofit works really hard to connect students, professors, and marketers. I feel like a lot of students are sleeping on AEF because their current partners are big, well-known, famous brands and companies that you want to work for. So I'm just gonna name a few of their current partners: Disney, Sephora, MasterCard, NBC Universal, Lenovo, and so much more. And the main benefits that you get as a student is opportunities to network, to have mentorship, to have access to workshops, and the most important one is early career opportunities such as the MADE Internship Program itself. Be sure to follow AEF on Instagram and TikTok just in case it comes back to hear advice and marketing journeys from CMOs and marketers from well-known brands. The CMOs and marketers that are being interviewed share so much about their marketing experience and trajectory, and they provide a lot of advice to young marketers as yourself who are looking to get into marketing. Also, follow them on LinkedIn. They post so much about their programs and what they're doing, and it's a great way to show that you want to stay engaged, especially if you plan on applying for the MADE Internship Program. So now I'm going to recommend a few things for you to check out that AEF has specifically for students. So there's two marketing certificate programs that they have, CAMS and CHER. CAMS is the Certificated ANA Marketing Student Online course, and the course is equipped to provide you with the information you need to be successful in a fast-paced industry like marketing. And the second one is CHER, and I'm obsessed with CHER. I had such a fun time completing the marketing certificate program. If you want to learn about the history of gender representation and how big brands like Dove and Nike are working hard to eliminate gender bias, definitely check it out. And these marketing certificates can also be put on your LinkedIn profile, which showcases your dedication and passion for learning in the marketing industry. Then they also have case studies on the website highlighting major marketing campaigns that really have stood out for its time, and those are always useful to know in interviews. And then there is You Might Be a Marketer, and this is a campaign that AEF has been running to show students how the daily things and activities that we take part of can correlate to a marketing career that you may have never thought of. And then there's marketing jobs you've never heard of, and I just thought that these were pretty cool to look at and see. There's so many things you can do in marketing, so definitely check that section of the site out as well. And then there's the MADE Mentorship Program, where you have the opportunity to receive mentorship and guidance from well-established marketers in the industry. And when I became a MADE Intern finalist, I was able to get a mentor, and she was so helpful with helping me with stuff with revising my resume or guiding me through how one would conduct informational interviews. She was just so helpful, so that is also something that you can take advantage of. And the marketers that are part of the MADE Mentorship Program are from well-known and famous brands like Lenovo, MasterCard, Ogilvy, and Publicis Group. And then lastly, there's the MADE Internship Program, which you already know about and I'll talk more about in the video. Now, on to application materials. First, we're going to start off with the recommendation letter, which is one of the required materials for applying to the MADE Internship Program. They do emphasize that they ideally would like a recommendation letter from a professor. If I were applying, I would try to get a professor who knows me a little bit inside and outside of the classroom, who I've built a very strong relationship with. They see me in classes, I've gone to their office hours or student hours. Ideally, you want someone who knows your strengths and your passions to really highlight what makes you you and why you would be a good pick for the MADE Internship Program. Also, I know some students would save this important part of the application until way later on, but please, especially for your professors who are busy with so many other things, give them at least 2 weeks notice so that they can write a very comprehensive and cohesive recommendation letter for you. And there's a deadline for the recommendation letter, which I'll get into a little bit later. Now I'm gonna show you guys my resume Please, 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 please do not copy it word for word, because it's not your experience and it will just ultimately get you in trouble. Use it as a reference to understand the strengths of my resume and why I was chosen to be a MADE Intern finalist. One of the things that AEF staff did tell me was that a lot of students tend to not recognize that they don't change the name of the PDF file of their resume. Be sure to do that. So they recommend having the first, last name, and then resume, .pdf, and I'll put like the layout somewhere here on the screen for you. Like, make sure it's not Florisha loves Justin Bieber 1 2 3 4 5 6, like nothing crazy. You want it to keep it classy. You want to keep it very demure, very just like corporate, just keep it cute, keep it profesh, and that's all they need. Just need something clean cut and just, I'm rambling, but you get what I'm trying to say here. I would also emphasize to have a good combination between soft skills and hard skills. So soft skills are interpersonal abilities like communication, adaptability, listening, all skills that are developed through experience. And hard skills are more like technical abilities like video editing, or knowing how to code, or knowing how to use certain platforms. So it's very important to have a combination between soft skills and hard skills on your resume to keep it balanced. Also, as a marketer, please try to quantify your achievements. Try to add numbers here and there and kind of like, sprinkle it, a little bit all over your resume. Don't make up numbers, but try to estimate your achievements and your accomplishments in those specific roles. And another tip that I received from an AEF staff is to use Google's XYZ resume formula. So Google describes it as this: accomplish X as measured by Y by doing Z. And the XYZ formula basically focuses on achievements, a quantifiable results, and the impact that you had. I would also utilize ChatGPT as a resource to help structure your experiences to emulate the XYZ formula. Also, my last tip is to try to include a portfolio on your resume. It just really helps with you standing out. If you haven't created your marketing portfolio yet, or you're looking to improve it, I will touch on some marketing portfolio resources and guides that you can use. And now I'll talk about the cover letter, another required application material. Here is mine. Again, don't copy it word for word. Use it as a reference to understand the strengths of my cover letter and why I was selected as a MADE Intern finalist. And just in case if y'all didn't know, a cover letter is never optional. Even if it says with the stars that it's optional, it's never optional. Always do the cover letter no matter what. In my cover letter, I really talk about how I created my own major centered around how race and racism shows up within different forms of media and communication. So I talk about my unique major and how the creation of my own major demonstrates my passion to marketing. And then I talk about the role I had on Brand X campus as a marketing communications coordinator. And then I go a little bit deep into my own social media project that I created and have been working on independently. And then I think I tie in my mission and purpose as a marketer and why marketing is so important to me. I'm not telling you to follow that specific formula or template of my cover letter, but it worked. I was able to get an interview with the nonprofit. Okay, now on to the portfolio. I feel like my favorite part of this video, creating my first marketing portfolio, I will say was a little bit tough. It was a little bit overwhelming and I didn't know where to start and I didn't know what it was supposed to look like. And so this is what my baby marketing portfolio looks like now. She's a grown woman. She's had a whole elegant, classy makeover. Like, she's come back better, And even though it is a little bit overwhelming and daunting to create a marketing portfolio, the whole experience of doing it is so fun. Like, because you are able to compile all of the work you've done, whether you think it's good or not, it's good. Like, any work you have is worth showcasing and highlighting because it shows your commitment. Even if it's as small as something as you doing newsletters or your own social media projects or jobs that you have on campus or whatnot, it shows that you have something and that you've started something. Everyone starts from somewhere. period. Marketers all start from somewhere, so don't feel shame or feel like your worth is not worth highlighting, because it is, okay? And Sky Society has a lot of resources that you can utilize to make your own fabulous, out of this world marketing portfolio. They have a blog post that I will link in the description down below. And then the founder, Natalie, also has a TikTok video. For the marketing girlies, I would recommend joining their LinkedIn group, and that's where Natalie has free templates that you can use to create your own marketing portfolio. For the guys, I'm so sorry. I don't think you can join the LinkedIn group, but you can reference the blog post. It's just on the internet. I will say Canva does have a lot of templates, marketing portfolio templates that you can use. You can also use my marketing portfolio as a reference and template. Also, if you have any questions and if you want to know how to make a marketing portfolio, just let me know in the comment section down below. Now I'm going to be sharing tips that you can use to shine in your application and must know information about the program. My first tip is to complete the CAMS or the See Her Education Marketing Certificate Program. Either one of them is a great way to show AEF that you took the time to complete one of their marketing certificate programs, and two, that you're dedicated to the marketing industry. The second tip is to optimize your LinkedIn profile. Definitely put some time aside to really go ham on your LinkedIn profile. Like make sure you have a nice profile pic, a banner. Everything looks good. Like everything looks professional. Everything is a reflection of you. Make sure that you have your work section filled out. Make sure to put as much information as you can to showcase and highlight all of your achievements, your successes. Also, I'm so sorry. I'm trying to run away from the sun, but I really can't. Like, it will go away soon. My third tip is to try to include a portfolio. If you don't have one, try to make one for the application. If you do have one and think that it's not worth showing, please still put it in the application. It is something that you have, use it, it'll help you stand out. And now I'm just gonna touch briefly on some information that is like good to know. The program is open to international students. You do not need to have a marketing major in order to apply to the MADE Internship Program. The internship program is only open to juniors and seniors. Lastly, the most important one is that getting an internship is not guaranteed. So what the MADE Internship Program really does is it acts as a second communicator with the partner companies, so that when you apply to the partner company's internship program, let's say, AEF would flag your application so that it's seen amongst the dozens of other applications that are there. Okay, now I'm gonna break down the interview process. So the first step of the interview process is the digital interview. So the digital interview has questions requiring both verbal and written responses. And I think it'll take about like 30 minutes. So I don't remember word for word all of the questions that I answered in the digital interview, but I do have questions that will prepare you to answer the questions on the digital interview. Listen, they might be the exact same questions. I have no clue. When you're in an interview, you kind of like just black out. Like you're just so like focused on being your best self and answering the questions that you kind of just don't remember what you did after. You're kind of just like, woo, like I did it. So that was pretty much me after my digital interview. I was so nervous and I was just like, I gotta get this right. So I prepared questions that may or may not be the exact same questions, but they will prepare you to successfully ace the digital interview. So be prepared to answer questions like, why do you want to go into marketing? What brands or campaigns stand out to you and why? What unique perspectives do you provide as an aspiring marketer? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What inspired or motivated you to get into marketing? Tell me about yourself within 1 or 2 minutes. How do you respond to feedback? What is your style of leadership? How do you show up working in teams? I honestly feel like those questions are great questions to come prepared to answer for both the digital interview and if you pass that, the Zoom meeting that you'll have with an AEF staff. One question that I do remember answering is one centered around like what brand or campaign like stood out to you the most. I remember like talking about Fenty Beauty and how when they came out with their 40 plus foundation line, it changed the whole trajectory of the beauty industry, and now inclusivity and diversity is a standard for beauty brands nowadays. I always keep that example in my belt, especially if you see yourself interviewing with a lot of on marketing brands or companies, always have a pocket of examples of brands who make decisions that are industry changing or innovative or set a new standard within the industry. Basically, that's just like revolutionary, you know, that stands out in the marketing industry, and always be ready to explain why and maybe how their actions speak to your passions and what you want to bring or do within the marketing industry. So the second step of the interview process is a Zoom interview with an AEF staff. So in that interview, I would focus on passion, professionalism, and authenticity. Honestly, from my point of view, I feel like the AEF staff just really wants to get to know you. Like, what makes you you? Why are you passionate about marketing? Why is the MADE Internship Program the best fit for you? I also think that they want to know, how do you show up when working with teams? Like, how do you lead? How do you deal with feedback? Are you a student that's willing to learn? These skills, I feel like, can take you a long way. Just being a person who is flexible, who's adaptable, a person who's able to work collaboratively, and basically someone who's able to be a self-starter, who takes initiative on completing tasks, or who goes the extra mile to do something. I really think that the Zoom interview is to get to know you, like your attitude and your mindset and the ways in which you show up in a workplace. The questions that I mentioned before, as well as the perspective that I give you now, will allow you to have a successful Zoom interview with the AEF staff. If you pass the Zoom interview with the AEF staff, then you are a MADE finalist. And then the other interviews would be interviews that you would have with their partnered companies. And when you're preparing for an interview with their partner companies, please take the time to look on the company's site. Look at their mission, look at the work that they do, look at the people that they work with, or just get to know the company inside and out. I honestly think that spending at least an hour on the company's site, socials, LinkedIn, and coming up with the questions, doing all of that will make sure that you come prepared, knowing some information about the brand of the company. And also, like, you'll be able to incorporate your knowledge and kind of like boast about it, like, as you're answering questions. So like kind of intertwine your research within your responses when you're in an interview with the company or brand. Now I'm gonna provide practical advice for applicants. There are two deadlines. One for students who want to work with marketers, and then the second deadline is for students who want to work in agencies or media platforms. I believe that the deadline for working with marketers is a lot earlier than the deadline for students who want to work with an ad agency or media platforms. So with that being said, in order to submit your complete application on time, you have to make sure that you plan out your rec letter so that your recommendation letter is also submitted around the time based off the deadline of marketing work that you want to do. My second tip would be to do research on AEF's partnered companies and see which ones catch your eye or which ones that you have an interest in working with. Also, be sure to send thank you notes after an interview. And I will stress this so much, and I'll be very dramatic about this because I almost didn't get my position as a marketing communications intern at AEF. Sending a thank you note is an important etiquette and standard within the marketing industry. It really shows that you want the position and that you also appreciate the time that the interviewer took to get to know you, to speak with you, and talk more about the position. And I honestly would recommend this for any position, even outside of marketing, to always send thank you notes to your interviewers because it'll also just make you stand out. My last tip are things that you should do to ace the interviews. So like, be confident, smile when you talk, to be yourself, and also to like slow down when you speak. For me personally, when I was doing the digital interview, I would like just kind of just be like blabbling and like yapping and like just kind of like talking around the main point, or like, yeah, the main point that I was trying to convey. I think sometimes I'm a person that gets in my head a lot, and instead of just like being present and knowing that I have the ability to articulate what I'm trying to say, I'm so caught up in my brain making sure that it says the exact thing that I want it to say and make sure it comes to my mouth that it never comes out the way I want it to. So just like relax and let yourself know that you have enough time, even if there's a timer at the top of your screen that's like telling you have like 20 seconds to respond to the question. I do believe that the digital interview specifically gives you at least 2 tries. I could be wrong, but I remember having at least 2 tries. So you can kind of like do whatever on the first try, and then the second try could be a little bit more better. Find a quiet space for both interviews, a space where you won't be interrupted by any loud noise or people talking, especially if you live with another person, or if you have a roommate in one room or roommates in an apartment. Let them know that from this time to this time you'll be in an interview, and you would appreciate it if they just quiet down and didn't make as much noise. My next tip would be to dress up in business casual or office wear. Showing up looking professional and ready for these interviews is especially important. I think now, especially since a lot of interviews are done virtually, I think it's very important to put a lot of effort and time into the ways in which you show up virtually. That includes like the lighting in your room, that includes what you wear. You know, showing up professionally creates a great first impression. Okay, now in this portion of the video, I'm gonna talk about my MADE experience. So as the marketing communications intern at the nonprofit, I was tasked with a bunch of like marketing and social responsibilities and activities, which was so fun to do when I was there. I was tasked with completing a website audit, with creating content for both their Instagram and TikTok, as well as coming up with like logo designs, LinkedIn carousel designs. I also launched their LinkedIn influencer program, and also my final project was to come up with ideas and strategies that the nonprofit can use to target its main audiences. I got to attend some amazing events. Oh my gosh, they were all amazing. The first event was the MADE Summer Mixer event, which was a great opportunity for me to network and connect with current MADE finalists and also like MADE alum. So MADE invited Publicis Group, New York Times, and L'Oreal. I also got the chance to meet Geraldine White, the Chief Diversity Officer at Publicis Group, and she was so sweet and so nice. Like, there was a MADE alum that worked at Verizon that was there, a MADE alum that worked at See Her that was there, a MADE alum that worked at Google that was there. Like, I was like, oh my God, like MADE alum are very successful individuals, and I was so filled with so much gratitude being able to be able to conduct interviews with some MADE alum, and also like get the opportunity and chance to get to know them more and learn about their marketing paths. I also got the opportunity to go on an NMGZ business trip, and NMGZ stands for National Millennial and Gen Z Community. The National Millennial and Gen Z Community was created by Billy Mata, and the business trip was organized by him and an IW group member. And so I had the extraordinary opportunity to travel to Seattle for the first time in my life. That was my first time being on the West Coast. And it was so fun. Like, I'm not even pretending. Like, I had so much fun going to Seattle. I got to meet so many other students around my age. Well, I was a recent graduate, so I got to meet a lot of people around my age, and they were wonderful individuals. I got to visit so many well-known brands and companies like Microsoft and Starbucks, and we also even got to stop at the original like first Starbucks store like in Seattle, which is really cool. And then we also visited WE Communications, and we also got to meet Jonathan Sposato. Hopefully I'm saying his last name right, but he owns Joy Sauce, Greek Wire, and the Seattle Magazine. And it was just so crazy. Like, to be in these rooms with these amazing individuals doing amazing work in marketing or in their respective discipline and industry. And it was just so cool. Like, I can't like, yeah. I think I'm just so speechless about the experience, because especially being a first generation, like coming from a low income background family, me occupying these same spaces, meeting these people, having discussions with them, connecting with them, and learning about the work, like their work, was just truly out of this world. And that business trip taught me so much about marketing. It gave me so much self-belief and like confidence in leaning into the unknown, but also just like leaning into the fact that I'm capable of doing anything in this industry, and that there is no barrier between me and a well-established marketer like that works at Nike or whatever. Like, I am also capable and worthy of taking up space and being in those positions. And I think I want to say this to any student who thinks, you know, who may come from backgrounds that are similar to mine, or may have an idea that they aren't worthy, or, you know, or it's not possible to take up space in these name brand companies. I'm telling you that it is. And just trust and believe in yourself that you can also get there. I will say though that the fact that I got to go on the National Millennial and Gen Z Community Business Trip was just by chance. I got really lucky. But AEF does choose one MADE finalist to go on the trip. Also, AEF hosts a honors night gala, and the gala is about honoring the accomplishments and achievements of marketers within the industry. And recently, they honored people like Antonio from HP, Essie Eagleston Bracey from Unilever, Suyang Kang from EOS, Davika from Ogilvy, and Eileen from IPG Media Brands. So imagine that you give yourself the opportunity to be at this event by applying to the MADE Internship Program, and maybe you could be one of those students who get selected to go to the Honors Night Gala. Overall, I will say that the entire internship experience was so memorable. Like, sometimes when I think about it and I look back, I can't believe that I did all of that. Like, again, my supervisor was just so amazing, and the community and the staff members at the AEF team, they are wonderful. I miss them, and I really appreciate all of them so much. They all individually taught me something, and like, I will forever hold that in my heart and carry it on with me, you know, going forward in my career. I got to meet their board of directors, and I also presented in front of them, which was a little bit daunting. I was like, no, you guys are putting me in front of your board of directors, like, that's crazy. But they were so sweet and so kind. I even got to have like coffee chats with CMOs from these like well-known companies and brands. There was that and so much more. Like, I'm only putting the highlights of my like internship experience like in this video. The opportunities and paths of connections that this position granted to me was truly like unbelievable. Like I said, this experience really boosted my confidence. It really taught me that marketing is not linear, and like, you do not need to have everything figured out after college. Even if people indirectly or directly tell you so, you do not need to have everything figured out. Basically, marketing is kind of just like a learning process. You take on positions, you kind of learn what you want to do, and if you like it, you stick to it. If you don't like it, then you jump on to another opportunity. Thank you so much for watching this video. Good luck with your application, and good luck to any college students out there trying to secure an early career opportunity. You got this. Bye.